Okay, I'm moving on with Act 3. So we have Scene 3. The king sends Rosencrantz and Guildenstern to take Hamlet to England. He wants to get rid of Hamlet right away. You know, this play thing just happened. He wants to get rid of Hamlet right away. And Polonius says he's going to go watch the conversation between Hamlet and his mom. They can't trust Gertrude to give an accurate report because she would probably be blinded by her love for her son. She might not tell the whole truth. So Polonius is going to go make sure he can report everything back. But then Claudius is alone. And he has this moment where his guilt and his shame and his conscience are weighing on him. He talks about how his offense has the primal eldest curse upon it, a brother's murder. In this, he is referring to the Bible, the story of Cain, because he killed his brother for gain too. Claudius wants to pray, but his guilt is holding him back. He wants to pray. Isn't that one of the purposes of prayer, he says? To plead with God for forgiveness? It does two things. It has twofold force. To be forestalled ere we come to fall, or pardoned being down. So, it keeps us from sinning in the first place, but when we do sin, it helps us make it right. He wants to pray, but he doesn't know how to ask for forgiveness for something so horrible. And how can he really repent if he is still enjoying the rewards of killing his brother? He doesn't think he can be forgiven, but he decides that praying is at least a start. He says, "Bow stubborn knees and heart with strings of steel. Be soft as sinews of the newborn babe." And he begins to pray. And Hamlet walks in on him praying. He's on his way to talk to his mom. He's just found out that the king is acting guilty. He's ready to kill him. He realizes, oh my goodness, it would be so easy to kill him right here and now. But then he decides that if he kills him now, it wouldn't be true revenge because it would just send him straight to heaven. If he is praying and is penitent and then he's forgiven, it is possible that this is the worst time for Hamlet to kill the king if he wants to do as much damage as possible. The ghost of Hamlet's father did say that he was killed before he had a chance to make himself clean and ready for heaven. All his crimes blown broad. All his crimes broad blown as flesh as may. He decides to wait to kill him until he's in the act of some sin. Hamlet leaves, and the king rises and says, "My words fly up, my thoughts remain below. Words without thoughts never to heaven go." So basically he's saying, well, that prayer didn't really mean anything because his thoughts and intents were not in it. He wasn't actually truly ready to repent. It's ironic. Hamlet could have killed him in his sins anyway. He would have probably been, one of his worst places sin-wise. And if he had killed him right then and there, it would have stopped a lot of the chaos that happens later on. I'm not saying he should have killed him because I don't think anyone should kill anyone, but he could have done it right then and there. This is another one of those scenes that could go a few different directions depending on character choices. So does Hamlet want to kill him ASAP and then he really does want to kill him in his full sin? Or is Hamlet stalling because he has had a hard time following through with killing him? I don't know. I kind of like to think that he does want to kill him, but he doesn't want to send him straight to heaven. But that is hard though, because it kind of makes him seem like a worse person. But I mean, it's not like anyone in this play is like a great person. So, okay, so now we have this scene with Hamlet and his mother, and Polonius is hiding, of course. And we have this scene that it's overflowing with all this pent-up need to get things over with and to stop pretending to be crazy, the tension of the danger his uncle is to him and he to his uncle, the emotion of the play and that just happened, within the play, and seeing that his uncle is really guilty. And then he decides not to kill his uncle right away. So he's got all this pent-up energy and rage, and he's very cruel to his mother. He doesn't need to act mad at all anymore because he knows now that his uncle's guilty and he would be justified in assassinating him. And Hamlet's wit is sharp and biting in this scene, and he is also acting so aggressively that she calls for help. She's certain that he's going to kill her. Okay, let's stop for a second. You have heard of this theory that some people entertain that Hamlet desires his mother and is jealous of the new king. This comes from Freud. That a lot of his frustrations with his mother are because he wants his mother. I'm curious what you all think. I don't know. What do you think? I'll tell you what I think. I personally think that it's a little bit of a stretch. I think he is probably disturbed by having to face the fact that his mom is sleeping with his uncle not that long after being married to his dad. That's probably really weird for him. I think that it's probably hard for him to see the person he has most needed to trust and look up to as a moral pillar in his life to suddenly not be that. I think he's genuinely angry with her that she would not see the damage she did when she married Claudius. She put Hamlet in danger, in mortal danger. She took away his chance to be the king, and she forgot her late husband's memory so fast. And there is also a chance that Hamlet thinks she was adulterous when his dad was alive, and she left Hamlet to grieve his father on his own. And in this last scene, we saw that he was trying to remind himself not to kill her too. He was like, don't be like Nero, be cruel, but don't kill her. So I don't think this kind of incestuous desires from Hamlet really makes sense in the story, and that they kind of distract from the actual problems going on in the story. But that's my personal take on it. Of course, it's a play and it's open to interpretation of directors and actors to change and breathe life into whatever way they decide to interpret it. Okay, so moving forward from that, Gertrude calls for help. Polonius is worried and yells out and calls out for help too. And Hamlet, with all this pent-up rage and tension and frustration from not killing the king when he was praying, stabs his sword through the arras and kills Polonius. He pulls the curtain aside and sees it's Polonius, and he's surprised. He says, "I took thee for thy better." He assumed the king was the one eavesdropping. And if he truly thought that the king was behind there, he kind of had to act. If it were the king, Hamlet would have been in danger right then, in his mother's room, knowing that the king knows that Hamlet knows. So he kills him quickly, but it's not the king. Okay, so this is really bad for Hamlet. Now all the work he has put forth to keep himself safe while he gets proof that Claudius is the murderer, it's for naught, because he just murdered an innocent man anyway. The ghost reappears too and gets after Hamlet for not avenging him quickly enough. After continuing to chastise his mother, he begs her not to sleep with Claudius anymore and also to keep the secret that he was faking madness. He needs to keep that madness as a tool now. He has to keep doing it so he doesn't get punished as much for killing Polonius. Okay, I'm going to stop there for Act 3. And I'm proud of you for making it this far, and I will see you in Act 4.